Virality.org brings you Stop Chasing Virality and start building a sustainable micro-label ecosystem today. You know, if you're an independent artist, this feeling is probably all too familiar. You pour your heart and soul into a song, you put it out there, and then you just watch the numbers, hoping for that one lucky spin. You're stuck on this content treadmill, right? Constantly feeding the machine? This quote from makingascene.org just hits the nail on the head. The art, the hope, it's all real, but the system itself feels like a total gamble.
So let's talk about that gamble. We're going to call it the virality trap. It's this promise that if you just get enough attention, you'll make it. But as so many artists are finding out, it can leave you visible, sure, but also broke.
Okay, so here's the core of the problem. Your goals as an artist and the goals of the platforms, well, they're just not aligned. I mean, look at this. You're trying to build a sustainable income, have creative control, and build a real connection with people who love your music. The platforms, they're designed to keep users scrolling and to sell more ads. Your career, your art, it's basically just a byproduct of their business model, not the reason they exist. And yeah, you're going to hear some massive numbers thrown around. Makingascene.org points out that Spotify paid out a whopping $11 billion in a recent year. And you think, wow. But here's the thing. For the vast majority of independent artists, that huge number doesn't really mean much. It just doesn't translate into a steady paycheck for you. Which leads us to the big, frustrating question, right? How is it possible to get 1 million views on a video and still be struggling to pay your rent? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Virality is just a flash flood of traffic. It's not a business model. And if you don't own the destination where all that traffic is going, that value just vanishes. It's gone as quickly as it came. And that right there, that's the single biggest mindset shift you need to make. It's understanding the huge difference between just renting attention from these platforms and actually owning your relationships with your fans. Think of it like this. This slide lays it out perfectly. On the left, you've got your rented land. That's your social media feed, your streaming profile. You're basically just a tenant there. But on the right, that's your owned land. That's your own website, your own email list. That's property that you actually, truly control. It's your home base. And let me tell you, building your career on rented land is so risky. Makingascene.org gives some really stark examples of this. You know, a platform like Zora can suddenly decide to pivot away from what you're doing. A Q music site like sound.xyz can just go offline. Poof, gone. When you build your entire house on somebody else's property, they can sell that land right out from under you at any time. So what's the answer? What's the alternative? It's about a complete change in how you see yourself. You've got to stop thinking like you're just a content creator making stuff for these platforms and start thinking like you're the owner of your own micro-label. Now, what in the world is a micro-label ecosystem? It's basically a system that you are in charge of. It's a closed loop where all the critical pieces of your career, your songs, your fans, your data, your money, all of it lives closer to you than it does to Spotify or TikTok or anybody else. It's all about taking back control. And this whole system is built from a few key parts. First, you need a headquarters. That's your website. You need a contact database. That's your email list. And then you start adding layers on top of that foundation. A membership for your fans, a premium layer for special offers, and a payment plan that makes sense for you. Okay, so that all sounds pretty good in theory, right? But how do you actually build this thing? Let's break it down. Let's get into the actual blueprint for a sustainable career. Building this whole thing really just comes down to 3 clear, totally manageable steps. This isn't some crazy abstract idea. It's a real, achievable plan. First, you build your home base. Then you create a way for fans to support you on a regular basis. And finally, you create some really special offers just for your biggest fans. So step 1 is the foundation. It's your headquarters. We're talking about a website that you control, maybe built on something like WordPress. And its number 1 job, its most important function, is to be a simple front door that collects email addresses. That's it. You hook that up to an email service you own, like MailPoet or Kit, and you set up a little welcome series to start building a real relationship from the moment someone signs up. All right, step 2 is where you start creating predictable income. This is the membership layer. You can use tools like Bandcamp subscriptions or Patreon or Vault.fm to give your fans a way to support you every single month. And the key is to just offer simple, easy-to-repeat value. Things like demos, behind-the-scenes commentary, early access. This is how you bridge that gap between a casual listener and a true super supporter. And you might be thinking, well, how much could I really make from that?
Don't underestimate it. The math, which makingascene.org lays out, is really powerful. If you can find just 150 fans, 150, who are willing to support you for just $6 a month, that's over $10,000 a year in predictable income. Now that is a foundation you can actually build a career on. So let's bring this all together, because this isn't just about finding a new way to make money. It's about something much bigger. It's about finding freedom. Freedom from the algorithm. And look, here it is. This is your game plan to reclaim your career in the next 3 months. For the first 30 days, you just focus on the basics. Get the plumbing right, build your website, start your email list. The next month, you launch a simple membership. And in the third month, you create one special, limited offer for your biggest fans. It's a clear path to get off that slot machine and onto some solid ground. Because the real win here, it's not getting boosted by the algorithm for a day. It's the long-term, deep-down creative freedom that comes when you own the relationship with your audience, when you own your data, when you own your money flow. You get to wake up and ask, what do my fans want to hear, instead of what does the algorithm want to see? It is a calmer, more honest, and way more profitable way to be an artist. So that's really the question you have to ask yourself. Are you going to keep playing the lottery? Keep feeding a machine that's designed for you to lose? Or are you ready to start building your own world? Make sure you check out the other great articles and resources on makingascene.org, the place the indie artist goes to build the new music industry.